But I want to shift over to housing as well, because you called that one pretty much last time we had you on the show. You're saying that there was a lot of reasons to be optimistic on the housing front. And just this week, we got some incredible headlines when you think about home buyer mortgage demand spiking to an 11-year high. You got home builder sentiment, as we highlighted on the show earlier this week, showing its best monthly surge ever. So what's your take on housing now as we get those data point developments here, and how that could set up for a very strong back end here in 2020?
You're going to have a phenomenal housing year. Prices are going to continue to go up. When the buyers in many of the states that are restricted are allowed to come out and actually look at houses, they're going to make a lot of purchases very quickly. So even in states where you have excess inventory, it's going to be gobbled up because people have a tremendous appetite right now for the word and the concept and the love that they call home, H-O-M-E. They're in love with their home, or they're critical. And I don't think I have a single friend who isn't thinking about moving for this reason or that reason, because they've had too much time to think about it. Everybody's been at home looking at their house. Is it a good schoolroom? Is it a good office? Is it a good safe backyard? Are my neighbors far away? Everybody's reassessed the concept of home. And what that creates is a desire for change. And when you have change, you have a rising housing market. Couple that with giveaway prices in the mortgage market, where money is so cheap, it's almost like you're embarrassed to say you don't have a mortgage anymore. There's so much incentive there that you're going to be surprised. Well, maybe you won't be surprised, but I think a lot of people are going to be surprised what's going to happen with the housing market. Even in New York, which is my hometown, that everybody's writing off and saying everyone's moving to the suburbs. Of course they are moving to the suburbs, but I've been there before. The great majority of those people move back, and with prices coming down in rentals and in lower price sale numbers, which is going to definitely happen in the large cities, more people are going to move in, and it takes care of itself. I'm just not worried about the housing market. The commercial market is where my eye is. And fortunately, I don't invest in commercial buildings. But if I was investing in commercial buildings, I'd be worried if I'm the bank supporting the mortgages there. I'd be worried on the commercial end if I'm a landlord, because I would say 1 in 4 people who have a commercial lease this month call their landlord, when the landlord, it should have been every landlord calling the tenant and saying, what could I do for you lately? I'm really worried about the value of commercial properties in every city and every town. I don't think people are going to return to the larger floor plates, with the exception of the offices that will always need a fancy A suite with the conference room, But other than that, people are working from home. There's great software to support it. And I do believe that we're going to really have a big shakeout in the commercial market.
At least, there is optimism there as malls start to reopen in some states here, and New Jersey malls even going to be opening up June 29th. We got that update. Simon Property may be catching a little boost on that. But when we talk about the housing, as you mentioned there, it's interesting because the 30-year fixed rate mortgage falling to a record low when we look at that, dating all the way back to 1971, now at 3.13%, down from 3.21. And you raise a really interesting point that I don't think we've talked about so much in demand and supply. Of course, that's always the market, right? When we talk about anything, it's where demand meets supply. But you raise the point of people thinking about moving now and how that could come from all of this stay-at-home situation. Supply was already constrained when you talk to a lot of people in housing. So how might an increase in demand actually fluctuate through the market here and impact housing even more so than what people may have been bracing for?
I think you're going to see an explosion in prices, really. You had so many strong markets before COVID hit. Most markets in the United States were going up in price. I think the average across the U.S. in the last 12-month period was roughly 7 to 8%, as I recall. That was already happening. So you already had a great foundation going. All we had is we had a pause in our clock. Okay, everybody wait, hold it. You can't see houses right now. But people adjusted, appraisers adjusted. They started appraising by drive-bys. Attorneys met in parking lots and exchanged contracts. People even adjusted despite all of those obstacles in the way. And so now picture that as a clear road where people could actually come out and see 4 houses in a row. Oh, yes, you're going to have overbidding. You already have overbidding in many communities across the United States. The only little fly, if you want one little negative news, because I sound like a Pollyanna here,
Sure.
is that I do sound like a Pollyanna, but I really believe it. But I have to say that the banks have twisted down a little bit on their requirements. They just don't want to, banks are, nervous Nellies. That's their job, to be nervous all the time. Okay, so in their nervousness, they make the qualifying a little bit more tough for people. So a few people will be knocked out of the market that heretofore could have gotten into the market, and that will seem like an unfair play. But that's the only negative. That's the only cloud I see on the horizon. I really am looking hard for something because I don't like to lose my credibility sounding too positive.
Hey, you always got to hedge. You always got to hedge every time you're on here,
Yeah, what's the political thing? I've been learning.
Yeah, so far you've called it. So, I mean, there's not much to hedge here. But Barbara Corcoran, always appreciate chatting with you. Thanks again for taking the time. The host of Shark Tank on ABC, Barbara Corcoran. Thanks again.
My pleasure. Nice being with you. Bye.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.